What's up, everybody? It's Robin Gaming here. So we are a few days, or quite some days, I guess, already into 2018. What I always love doing, of course, is making predictions. So what I wanted to do in this video, I guess, is just talk with you a bit about what kind of year is it going to be for gaming. I wrote down 5 predictions to the side of me that I want to pretty much tell you about and explain at the same time, of course, right here. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I decided to pretty much dedicate 3 of the predictions towards each console manufacturer, so 1 for each for Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, and then I still have 2 other predictions kind of outside of that, related to other games or topics, but you'll see what they're going to be ultimately. So I would say without further ado, let's actually, kick it off, start talking about my 5 predictions for gaming in 2018. So, gonna start off on a very positive note. That's definitely sarcasm. Red Dead Redemption 2 will be delayed and is actually going to be releasing in September. Yeah, it's Rockstar, man. Like, that's what it ultimately comes down to. As much as I am looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 2, I really can't wait for that game to come out. You know, the first one I was a huge fan of and stuff. But it's Rockstar. Like I said, they're just known for delaying their game so many times. Whether it's the GTA series or the very first Red Dead Redemption, I think they did it with as well. Ultimately, that's what they do. They love announcing their games very early, not telling you about them then for like a freaking full year before they show you a new trailer. And what they love doing is delaying it a couple times before they actually bring it out when it's, completely polished. Which is, of course, a good thing that they bring it out when the games are actually, in fact, done. But yeah, obviously it does suck that we keep hearing about delays so many times with their games. But yeah, no, I mean, once again, like, it is kind of a 50-50 type situation. I could still see it come out actually in the first half because Rockstar does always start their marketing, really like their marketing trajectory. They started very late, where they actually show you the gameplay reveal and the online reveal and, some more story trailer or trailers, I guess. But like I said, I just think that they're going to delay it one more time from the original spring 2018 window to somewhere like September, which is when GTA 5 came out as well. So that's my very first prediction, but I hope I'm wrong. Now let's actually move on to, I guess, like I said, the manufacturers. We'll kick things off with Nintendo. I think that for the Switch, this is once again going to be a really good year. The Switch has proven me wrong, I was a little skeptical at first. Right now, I see that it's successful. The device itself is really cool, I've kind of turned around myself on it too. But it honestly kind of positively surprised me when I finally got my Switch myself. Although for me personally, the games aren't really there, but they're still gonna come though with, new Mario games or Pokemon or whatever. So I'll be good there, but I think in general, Nintendo is going to have, again, a good year. But my prediction that I actually wanted to make is that I think, and it is kind of a bold one because we haven't seen Nintendo do this for the last, 5 years or something. I think Nintendo is going to return to E3 with an actual press conference. And the reason why I would predict this is simply because Nintendo stopped pretty much doing the press conferences the moment that they stopped being successful with the Wii U. After the Wii U really turned out to not do well at all, they stopped doing the press conferences. They pulled back, they started doing those directs and stuff, which they're still doing, of course. But I don't know, I feel like now that Nintendo is kind of like back into the game, and they're performing well again and people are excited about the Switch, they kind of want to show, I guess, that they're proud of it as well, and that, they really want to show that they're a player again in this industry, right? So I think that if they've got plenty to show off, at least for the Switch, exclusive-wise, and hopefully also some, more third-party support, then it would be awesome to see them back on stage with an actual big press conference that not only the die-hard Nintendo fans will be tuning into, but just the general gaming crowds that maybe doesn't even have a Switch. I always think that it's just very smart to actually do E3 conferences because people are going to watch them all anyway. And I think, with them doing directs in the past, only really the diehard Nintendo fans would be tuning into those. So, the whole live aspect really adds so much to it, makes people more interested, also outside of the typical, like I said, Nintendo fan base. So, that is pretty much my second prediction. Now, moving on to the third one, which this one is going to be about PlayStation. I think that PlayStation is also looking to have, another good year. They've pretty much only been having good years now for the last few at least. Of course, we know that there's going to be like, a lot of... well, they pretty much have like 4 big games coming out. God of War, Detroit, Spider-Man, and Days Gone. I didn't really know much of a prediction to make because, once again, I do think it's going to be kind of just a standard year where there's not a whole lot of like new and exciting stuff. E3 will probably be a lot of gameplay reveals for the 2019 games like Death Stranding and The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima and stuff. But, we pretty much know what every single one of their studios is working on. So I don't think it's going to be super exciting outside of like what we already know. So I guess I kind of just wanted to predict how these games are being received. So I wanted to predict pretty much what the Metacritic scores for all these games are going to be. For God of War, I think that game is going to do absolutely fantastic. I think it's pretty much going to be around a 90 probably on Metacritic. Because, yeah, that game so far to me looks really polished, really awesome. I'm very excited for it. Detroit, I think, is going to be received well. Quantic Dream, of course, made Heavy Rain, which was a big success. Beyond Two Souls, not so much. You saw that people got less and less excited for it. I think Detroit will be more comparable to the success that Heavy Rain had. So I think ultimately it's going to do maybe like an 80 on Metacritic as well. It's always going to be a couple of the haters that will be saying, oh, this game has no gameplay. But we all know that's the type of game that we should expect from Detroit. So that's pretty much what I predict. Spider-Man, I think, is going to be a big success. I predict that one to be at around 85, where the game is going to be praised, for just being a comeback for the Spider-Man games as well, because those kind of like fell off the map, I guess, at least in terms of quality, right, for quite a while already, at least from what I hear from other people. But I think, the fact that Insomniac is working on this one, I don't really have much doubt there. The game is going to be praised for being very fun, lots of content probably. Story, I don't know if a lot of people will care for it. Me personally, I won't. But, like that game is no doubt going to be a big success as well. The last game we got to talk about, though, is Days Gone. And I guess that's kind of really what I wanted to lead up to with my PlayStation prediction. I think Days Gone... And I hate to say it, but I'm just gonna, because I'm realistic about it. I just think that Days Gone is gonna underperform and that the game will really, be more disappointing. Because I do see quite some people actually being pretty hyped for it. But I personally, looking at it right now, I don't really get it. To me, the game looks a little generic. Your typical open world game in a zombie setting, which is nothing new. While at the same time, both in 2016 and in 2017 at the E3 demos, the game looked quite rough, unfinished, like the animations weren't too great. Game looks good, I would say, graphically, but that's about it. Like, I haven't seen anything mind-blowing or anything that makes me say, this game is going to have a fantastic story or do something that no other game does, or at a certain quality level that no other game does. It's just not really the case, if you'd ask me. But once again, I hope the game proves me wrong. I predict that one will have around a Metacritic of like 65. I really don't think it's going to be much more than that. 65, maybe 70 would be still nice. I just don't have the highest expectations. So I guess that's kind of what I wanted to predict as far as PlayStation goes. Is Days Gone, I wouldn't be expecting too much, but we'll see. Then, of course, we gotta talk about Microsoft. Now, Microsoft, I hate to say it because it makes me maybe come across once again as a hater or whatever, but like we just gotta face the facts. Microsoft has had obviously a terrible 2017. Xbox One X was like the only little bright spot, which even that one hasn't, like, it's been received well, but I don't know if it's really selling too well. We don't really hear any numbers about it, of course. But games-wise, last year was very disappointing. Pretty much 2, I think, Halo Wars and Forza. And this year is honestly really not looking too much different, if you'd ask me. Crackdown 3, many people are worried about. State of Decay is just kind of okay, good, I guess, whatever. And Sea of Thieves could be either really like a success, or it could be kind of hit or miss. You know what I mean? We'll see about that one. I guess the one thing I do want to predict for Microsoft, and I'm gonna try and be positive about it, is that I really hope so. Microsoft is gonna at least start or acquire one new massive studio to make exclusive Microsoft games. You know what I mean? Like right now, their portfolio, just the studios that they own, there's barely any, you know. They pretty much have like 3 studios. That's about it. Like 3 actually massive ones, and they make the same games: Halo, Forza, Gears. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that this is the year where at least we're gonna see some type of progress with the fact that they're gonna be, you know, once again, either starting one or I guess buying one massive studio that could actually maybe start a really cool new IP. Hopefully something that's more story-driven and stuff. Kind of like, I guess, what Quantum Break tried to do, but, you know, obviously it tried to like be a new IP, more story-driven and stuff, but it wasn't executed 100% well, and that's the reason, you know, why it didn't really sell too well, and maybe people weren't really that interested in its theme. I hope that they can, you know, get this new studio that will make something new, fresh, and awesome for them, that's actually gonna make people, you know, like, other people than the typical Xbox fans, once again, interested in actually playing this game, whether it's on Xbox or on PC. We're gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, like I just hope that this is the year where we're gonna see progress being made, and Microsoft is gonna focus more on the game. So still, if they do that, it's gonna take quite some years, obviously, for that game actually to be made. So yeah, I'm not saying it's like all of a sudden gonna turn things around or anything, but it's a step in the right direction, like I said. Last of all, the last thing I really wanted to touch on is the microtransactions. That's the last prediction I wanted to make. And my prediction is maybe, you know, it will sound a little vague, but because you can't really measure it, but at the same time, like, I do think it's a valid one. I think that the fight against microtransactions is definitely not over yet. In fact, I would say that 2018 will, you know, be an even bigger year with gamers fighting against them than 2017 was. But it's gonna make a significant impact. And the reason why I'm saying this is that last year we had some games where microtransactions, you know, caused this controversy, right? But it wasn't really on the same level as it was with Battlefront. We had For Honor, we had Shadow of War, of course. Those had some relatively big controversies around them for the microtransactions, but it really, once again, it came to this insane level with Star Wars Battlefront. The problem is, Star Wars Battlefront was the last game, pretty much, the last big AAA game that came out in 2017. It was really like somewhere in the middle of November, I think, that it released. And the thing is, that was after all those other games had already come out and were able to really implement their microtransactions. So right now we're going to see that with every big new game coming up that will once again feature them very heavily, gamers are going to start complaining about it. And developers have seen, of course, the outcry over Battlefront, but they're still going to keep trying. You know, other studios with other games, they're going to keep trying. They're gonna see if that effect was only for the Star Wars game, and if it wouldn't actually count, you know, for their own game, that they would get the same kind of backlash. So I really think that we're going to see gamers stand up against it more and more. And like I said, it's going to make an impact. We're going to see that even with something like maybe Red Dead Redemption 2, that people are going to be talking about this. And, you know, that companies are going to take action. Whether that means that they're only going to still be, you know, cosmetic, but nothing really game-changing, or whether it means that they're actually going to be removed entirely, we'll have to wait and see. But I do think that, once again, this fight against microtransactions is not over yet. It's only going to get bigger this year, but we're going to ultimately see that because so many gamers complain about it, that there's actually going to be something significantly changed, you know, in what games are nowadays and what, you know, kind of, I guess, payment options and stuff that they're going to feature as far as those microtransactions go. So these were pretty much the 5 big predictions that I'd like to make for 2018. Let me know if you agree or disagree with them, of course, in the comments. Let me know if you have some of your own that you would like to share with me. That would be really cool to see. And then for now, really hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a quick like to help support my channel. And then I'd like to thank you a lot for watching. Hope to see you again next time.